Hello everybody and welcome to a new player guide for Michael McGlen, everybody's favorite gangster from the Drowned City expansion, unless of course your favorite gangster is actually Gloria Goldberg, because she's a straight up G. Alright, this is a new player guide. I have built a deck for Michael McGlen using just the revised core set and the Drowned City expansion. So all of the cards I'm going to be discussing here are going to involve those cards and not going to have any cards from other expansions. I'm not going to make any recommendations for them in this deck guide. So if you do want more of that, you're just going to have to take the lessons here and try to explore your collection and do it yourself. Or go into our Discord channel and ask for recommendations. People love helping people make decks in our Discord channel, which you can find down in the video description. Okay, Michael McGlen is a 3/1/5/3 investigator with a 9/5 soak. As a reaction, after you spend one or more ammo from a firearm asset, gain one resource, limit once per firearm asset per round. Elder Sign effect is +2. You may place one ammo on a firearm asset you control. His ability is very straightforward. It tells you what he wants to be doing, and it tells you the benefit that you're going to get from doing it. Michael McGlen is going to want to use firearm weapons, and he is going to gain resources to help slowly pay for his next firearm weapon when the first one you're using empties. This is a very nice little gameplay loop, meaning that you're always going to get some just economy flowing, which is going to be really nice to just ensure that you can play the next firearm asset that you're going to need. So, gameplay loop is very simple. Put a firearm into play, shoot that firearm, get money from that firearm, use that money to play other cards, which might include another firearm down the road. His deck building size is 30. His deck building options are Rogue 0 to 3, neutral cards 0 to 5, cards with firearm either as their trait or in their text box levels 0 to 5. So it's a very important thing where it's going to be a firearm trait, but also cards that have firearm in their text box, which I think is going to be some nice cards that we're going to see in our upgrade pools once we get into this. His deck building requirements include one of his signature and one of his weakness, so why don't we look at those? Viola Case is a 2-cost item illicit accessory that commits for pretty much any symbol. It can even commit for a book if you wanted it to, but luckily Michael McGlen's stat line is so hyper-focused, he has a killer stat line, right? So you don't want to use it for that. We're going to get back to his stat line in a few. But it allows you to have 2 additional hand slots, which can only be used to hold firearm assets. That's pretty sick. But it also has a reaction ability when it enters play, where you search the top 9 cards of your deck for a firearm asset and add it to your hand, and then shuffle your deck. So while this does give you more hand slots for firearm assets, what I think is really nice about Viola Case is that it lets you tutor up another firearm to use, whether it be your first or your second or your third when you start running out of your first ones. His signature weakness is Confiscation. Revelation, shuffle each firearm asset in your play area into your deck. If no asset was shuffled into your deck by this effect, take 1 damage and shuffle Confiscation back into your deck. So, this weakness has its pros and it has its cons. Its pros are that it effectively reloads your weapons and allows you to use them again in the future, and that's pretty sick. Its cons are that it gets rid of your weapons, so if you have no firearm weapons in your hand when this happens, you're going to kind of have to plan for that. You're going to have to okay, what am I going to do when I run out of that? Luckily, there are a lot of ways for Michael McGlen to work against Confiscation to his advantage. You can simply hold a firearm asset in your hand, right? So you don't want to overcommit on your firearm assets. It's like playing against a control deck in Magic the Gathering. You don't want to spend more than you have to, because if you do, when they destroy everything you have, you're not going to be able to get back to where you were, right? So if you have a firearm in play and you have 4 bullets on that firearm, but you haven't seen Confiscation yet, don't necessarily play the other firearm in your hand. Use that first firearm a few times, and then when it gets closer to empty, now you can put your other firearm into play. Or if you draw a second firearm into your hand, play the first one you were holding. You always want to keep at least 1 firearm back. The thing, though, that's nice about this is also the Viola case works really well with confiscation, right? So if you are also holding your Viola case, that can allow you to potentially get back one of the firearms that you just lost, because searching the top 9 is probably going to help you find one of the ones that was just shuffled in, especially when your deck size is smaller later in the scenario. So it's just something you have to be aware of. I wouldn't call it like a crippling weakness, but I also wouldn't call it an easy weakness. I think it's like, depends entirely on how you approach it and how you manage it. You can also, as you get a bigger collection, just hold a melee weapon in one of your hands, but I think that ultimately defeats the point of Michael McGlen, and I think he's a lot stronger when you are triggering his ability twice around, once for each firearm asset you, like, even multiple times depending on how many firearm assets you have, or if there are any firearm assets that allow you to do things at a lightning bolt. As I said earlier, his stat line is very good. 3 brain and 3 foot means he's all right defensively, and we're going to be able to take advantage of that with some of the skills we're going to be committing. His 5 horror does mean that he is going to be a little bit like soft to things like rotting remains, but again, we have ways that we can mitigate that in this deck pool once we get into it. And his 5 fist means he's going to fire his weapons really well, and his 1 in book means that he has no wasted points. This is a really nice stat line, and he's really going to make it rock. Let's dive in and start talking about the level 0 deck. So, the first 2 weapons in the deck list are 41 Derringer and 45 Automatic. These are both in the core set, and they're both just weapons that we're going to be playing. We're running pretty much every gun that we can because we want to be able to find guns, shoot guns, and use our ability. The 41 Derringer at level 0 isn't great, but it's serviceable, and we're going to want to upgrade it ASAP. Spend, it comes in with 3 ammo, cost 3. Spend 1 ammo, fight. You get +2 fist for this attack. If you succeed by 2 or more, this attack deals +1 damage. The nice thing about Michael McGlen compared to someone, for example, like Skids O'Toole, it's a lot easier to succeed by 2 or more when you're attacking at 7 compared to 5 with no other resources committed to this. So that's a very nice thing for Michael McGlen to have with the 41 Derringer, but again, we're going to want to upgrade it, and it's going to be a very nice upgrade when the time comes. 45 Automatic is a standard Guardian gun. It has the firearm trait, which is why we can run it in this deck. Spend 1 ammo, 4 ammo when it comes in. Fight, you get +1 fist for this attack. This attack deals +1 damage. These paying themselves back because they each come in with the ammo that they have is really nice, and it is why ultimately we would love to spend all 4 shots or all 3 shots for the Derringer on different turns. The nice thing about Michael McGlen is he has 5 fist, which means that you can also punch down enemies pretty good to save on ammo if you don't want to waste that ammo and not use his ability. Elusive is a 2-cost event. Fast, play only during your turn. Disengage when each enemy engage with you and move to reveal location with no enemies. This is just a nice way for you to move and potentially have a little panic button if it's needed. Or alternatively, to move closer to your Clover, who may be swamped with enemies. Emergency Cash is just a 0-cost event, gain 3 resources. While we do have a way to gain resources with our ability, more economy doesn't hurt, just to ensure that, for example, we could play the 45 Automatic and then like play the Derringer after an emergency cache and just be gunned up and ready to go and hopefully not get confiscated. There's not many cards from the core set here in the level 0 deck anyway. So we're going to talk about the skills here. This is actually kind of crazy, but it is the case. Guts is good. Guts is good because while the other stats are commonly tested by active skill testing in the form of investigating, fighting, or evading, you don't really do much with your brain unless you're a mystic. So the Mythos deck makes up for that by forcing you to test your brain to not die. And Michael McGlen is probably scared of rotting remains, a well-known brain test that forces you to test it to not die. So being able to get +2 brain means that you're more likely to pass those rotting remains, which is really nice for Michael McGlen. Overpower gives you +2 fist compared to Guts +2 brain, which means that you're going to want to use this to fight. Really good for the 41 Derringer to just ensure even more for higher fight enemies, and just to replacing itself is really nice. Also really good for those tests I mentioned where you just want to like get that 1 shot in to deal that extra damage so you don't have to spend a bullet. And I had Unexpected Courage here because it works really well with both his 3 in brain and his 3 in foot. Really nice for Michael McGlen. On to the level 0 cards from the Drowned City. There is a good number of cards here to make Michael McGlen sing. We're going to start with the 2 weapons to round out the last of our 8 weapons in our starting level 0 deck. With the Luger P08, this is a 2-cost asset, uses 2 ammo as a lightning bolt. As a lightning bolt! Exhaust Luger P08 and spend 1 ammo. Fight, you get +1 fist for this attack. This is really nice as a way to get extra actions to fight with, but also as a way for us to trigger our ability without spending actions to kill things. It does have an action ability on it. Spend 1 ammo, replenish all ammo on the Luger P08 and ready it. I think this is going to be a very nice card in your deck. While there is no upgraded version of this deck, this is a very nice way for Michael McGlen to kill things, and if you do end up killing things, you can spend the action to just replenish it, and also that the resource that it spend, like you spend, you gain from firing it, which is really nice. You can spend that ammo on like the action as if you fought it, right? So it's a very, very nice weapon. We also have the Remington Model 1858. It's a 3-cost, uses 2 ammo, spend 1 ammo, fight, you get +1 fist for this attack. This attack deals +1 damage. As a reaction when it leaves play, immediately trigger the above action ability, ignoring all costs. Fun little confiscation thing there. But yeah, this is just another option. It's just like some more redundancy for our guns in our deck. And we can do the upgraded version, which is very fun to play with, and I think Michael McGlen would love. Robert Castaigne is our ally of choice for this deck. He is the ally from this expansion. You get +1 fist, 4 costs, soaks for 2 and 2, which is very nice for Mike McGlen. As an action, discard a firearm asset that takes up 1 or fewer hand slots from your hand and exhaust Robert Castaigne. Resolve a fight ability on the discarded asset, ignoring all costs. This does not provoke attacks of opportunity. I'll be honest, you're probably not going to be using this ability too much at level 0. He's mostly just here for that extra fist. So just something to keep in mind. We'll talk more about the versatility of his upgraded version when we get to that. Where's the Party is a 0-cost trick improvised event. It's parlay, search the encounter deck and discard power for a non-elite enemy and spawn an exhaust and engage with you. Draw cards equal to that enemy's combined damage and horror values. This is card draw. This also is a way for you to take an enemy out of the deck so someone else or you don't have to draw it later. You can use this to fish out victory enemies because there is a lot of non-elite victory enemies that you're able to take advantage of with this card, and it's just going to draw cards and then you can just like kill it and gain money. So it's like an economy card in all forms for Michael McGlen, and it's a very nice option for him to use. We have You've Had Worse. This is a 0-cost event. Fast play when an investigator at your location or connecting location is dealt damage and or horror. That investigator may spend up to 3 resources. For each resource spent, that investigator cancels 1 damage or 1 horror just dealt. This is a way for us to take less horror from Rotting Remains and the cards like that. You're going to have excess resources as well, so this is a very easy way for you to spend 1 to 3 resources to prevent horror that is dealt with you, which is going to be very nice, and just ultimately make things feel more comfy. If you're doing great, or you, like, for health and sanity, but you also, like, don't have resources, you could commit this for 2 foot, which is not nothing. Bum's Rush is a 2-cost tactic trick event. As an evade, add your fist value to your skill value for this attack. By the way, that's 8. I just quickly crunched the numbers and I just give myself a little cowlick type thing. Oh, it's going crazy. If you succeed by 2 or more, which you probably will because you're attacking at 8, well, you're evading at 8 technically, deal that enemy 1 damage. If that enemy is non-elite, you may move it to a connecting location. This is just a simple little damage and enemy control spell. You could probably upgrade out of it as the game goes, but it's a nice option to have in your level 0 deck. It's just like, is gonna... Enemy management and enemy control is a very powerful tool. Primed for action, 0-cost event, play only as your first action. Play a firearm asset from your hand, reducing its cost by 2. Then, you may play an upgrade event from your hand, attaching it to that asset if able. So, this does say firearm, so that's why we're able to run this. And this is mostly just economy. We don't really have a good way to take advantage of that second upgrade text, but it's just kind of here to just round out our economy, bring our curve a little bit lower. We can commit it for a foot in a pinch, but we probably will upgrade out of it as we get deeper. But it's a nice way to just save some money on, like, you can play your Derringer for, sorry, you can play your Luger for free, or your Derringer for 1, your Remington model for 1, your... I mean, what's also really nice, I mean, this does provoke attacks of opportunity if you do play it when you are engaged with an enemy, so something to keep in mind. But it just, like, reduces the curve of your deck, but it's gonna... It gets better when you can also, like, do some other fun things with it. Crackshot is a practice skill, commits for 3 wild, commit only to a skill test from an ability printed on a firearm or ranged asset you control. just +3 when you are using one of your weapons. Really nice to kind of just round out the Derringer, but also is just like a way for you to get your fist more high over those big boys that you might fight later in a scenario. Okay, let's go on to the XP cards here as we round out the rest of this deck. From the core set, we have the upgraded Derringer. As I said earlier, this is a very nice upgrade to make the Derringer just better. 3 cost, 2 experience, uses 2 ammo. Spend 1 ammo, fight, you get +2 fist with attack. If you succeed by 1 or more, this attack deals +1 damage. So keep in mind, this card still does not just deal +1 damage all the time. You need to succeed by 1 or more, something to keep in mind. However, once per turn, if you succeed by 3 or more, you may take an additional action this turn, and that is really nice. And also, there's going to be ways for us to take advantage of that with the upgraded Robert, and I think that just like it's a nice upgrade. I played it with in Tony. This like kind of exact concept of Tony, and it worked really well, so I know it's going to work in Michael McGlen. Elder Sign Amulet, 2 cost, 3 experience, takes up the accessory slot, which does compete with the Viola case, but it does soak for 4 horror, so it's a way for us to take less horror, and like, we'll take less horror on our Investigator card and more horror on our Elder Sign Amulet. Extra Ammunition is a 2 cost event. It's a supply guarding class, so it's going to say firearm on the text, believe you me. Place 3 ammo tokens on a firearm asset controlled by an investigator at your location. If you think about it, this is kind of like another emergency cache. This card is going to pay itself back over time, especially if you are divvying out those bullets once per round. Sure Gamble, 2 cost, 3 experience, fast, play after you reveal a chaos token with a negative modifier, switch that token's minus to a plus. This is just some classic rogue cheating stuff. We might as well use it. It's a fine option if you want to include it. It's also a good thing to replace for like your Bum's Rush, right? Just to get some more consistency with your weapons or your prime for action, albeit just keep in mind that is going to put your curve up. The curve is the cost of your deck, right? So the higher cost of cards in your deck, the higher your curve is, right? The more lower cost you have in your deck, like the lower your curve is going to be. Just think of it as like the curve of like that shows your if you put all the costs in a bar chart, like that kind of thing. So you can actually find them on all, like on Arkham DB and Arkham Build. You can go into like the extra tools to see your the curve of your deck, and it's very helpful to learn that. All right, on to our not our Drowned City cards here for our upgrades. We have the upgraded Remington, the model 1858. 2 cost, 4 experience, takes up the hand slot, uses 3 ammo, so extra shot, cost down by 1, I believe. As an action, spend 1 ammo, fight, you get +2 fist for this attack. This attack deals +1 damage. As a reaction, when Remington model 1858 enters or leaves play, immediately trigger the above action ability, ignoring all costs. So it coming in when you also just play it is really fun and really nice. And it's just like more damage, cheaper, an extra shot. All these things are viable to make the Remington model 1858 a nice inclusion and a very fun weapon to play with. Upgraded Robert Castaigne, 3 cost, 4 experience. You get +1 fist, and now his ability is a lightning bolt. Exhaust Robert Castaigne, fight. Reveal a firearm asset that takes up 1 or fewer hand slots from your hand. Resolve a fight ability on the revealed asset, ignoring all costs. Then, you may either discard the revealed asset to draw 1 card, or play that asset paying its cost. This card is a very nice upgrade from the original Robert. The ability to play cards for free or turn the cards in your hand into a new card is a very nice thing for Robert. And also like for Robert to give you, and also for Michael McGlen to use. What's really fun with this one is using it with the upgraded Derringer as a lightning bolt to get an additional action, and then put that, and then, you know, like just continue, like put it into play, and then just keep shooting it. You might hear some rumblings online about how this allows you to not choose to discard, and you can just like use your 41 Derringer every turn. It was ruled that it does work that way, so have fun doing that, you know? Shoot that gun. And just keep using it. It is currently possible for you to do that. Locked and Loaded is a 3 cost, 3 experience permanent, so it's there and just permanent. And your firearm assets with uses ammo enter play with 1 additional ammo on them. This is very nice for Michael McGlen. Mostly because like his playstyle, at least with this limited collection, is you're just playing a bunch of small guns, and an extra use out of your Remington, an extra like just free shot on your Derringer and your automatic are really nice. It doesn't really do as much for the Luger, right? But it works for your other guns really well. And it's also 1 extra money with his ability, which is very nice for him. I think this is the last card we have here. Watch this. 3 experience Gambit in the Rogue class. Commits for 3 wild. Commit only to a skill test you're performing. As additional cost to commit, watch this to a skill test. Spend up to 3 resources. If you succeed by 1 or more, gain that many resources. The nice thing about this card is it's just like cash, but it's also just like another way for you to protect yourself in the Mythos phase using just a +3 to your brain or your foot. It's very nice for him. You're probably going to get the money back. Consider this like a worse, an inverse you've had worse, something you could take advantage of. I love the level 0. Watch this, and I think this new version is just going to be nicer because 3 wilds is a very nice number, and it just means cash in your pocket, cash in your pocket. That's Michael McGlen. As I mentioned, he's pretty straightforward. He is just like an alt Tony, a Tony Morgan. He's just here to shoot a gun and make money doing so. He's going to have 5 fists, so he's going to do a lot of fun stuff with it. You think he's very simple to play. His ability is nice, but his signature weakness is something you need to be aware of, but it's very possible for you to play around. You just have to keep a gun back, or alternatively hold your Viola case, because that's kind of going to find another gun just at a little bit of an extra cost. During the game, you're going to want to protect your horror because you have less horror, so be able to use your guts and your unexpected courage and your you've had worse, and maybe your watch this if you upgrade it in the future, just to kind of keep you alive, and just protect your team, kill enemies, and deal with bosses as they show up, and you will have a great time. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. I'll be back tomorrow to talk about Gloria Goldberg, the author, the writer, I think that's her subtitle, but she is in this box, and then we have a few more investigators to go after that. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a good one. Oh, that was the old double salute. GG's.